of jQuery and some other minor report updates. But there's one major, huge thing lurking right here in the middle, and that is that there's a new feature or function called Append Import ID. So let me just read it for a second. The Append Import ID functionality allows end users to upload an import file with any of the four ID values, DCID, ID, state, student number, or student number, and then you can select which other value you want to add to your file. So let me give you a couple of examples, and why this is so huge is that you can, I think, in a lot of cases or all cases, say goodbye to VLOOKUP. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've been through it, you know what I mean. So you might have a file, an import file that either you created or maybe it's a file you got from somewhere else, from your state, and the only value it has for students is their state ID number. So traditionally, you would then do an export out of PowerSchool with the student number field and maybe the student name. And then in Excel, you take the two different spreadsheets and use VLOOKUP so that you can convert from the state ID to the student number so that you could do an import on student number, which of course is what you need when you do a quick import into the system. So this new screen, which you can see is both on the import and export page, it's under special functions import and export, it's under data page and data management under import, is called Append Student Import ID. So on this screen you would find your text file. Here I'm just going to use an export out of PowerSchool. What kind of delimiter does that file use? Okay, after you import it, here are the columns, or not before you import, but once you link the file, here are the columns that we found in your file. So it had a student number column. Then, okay, what column is that? Because it might be called something else. So let's say, for example, in your file, there's an SSID, because that's the acronym for your state ID number. So you have an SSID column. You can say, well, that column is actually the state underscore student number. And then what other value do you want to append to your file? So if we're trying to bring this into PowerSchool, I could say, oh, go ahead and add the student number column. And so basically PowerSchool will do that work for you and do the mapping from state student number to student number, or from any one value to any of these other 3 or 4 values for you automatically. So then you can turn around and import that file using the field that you need, in this case, student underscore number. So for this example, I just did a quick export. I'm going to add the other 3 columns, and you can see that will generate a new export file that's basically exactly what you had before, but as the name implies, it will append or add additional columns for whichever values you check here. Okay, so this I think is going to be a huge time saver for those of you out there that often have files, whether it's from your own system or more likely from a third-party system that has, one value but not the other. And now you can just add the value that you need so you can turn around and import it into PowerSchool without having to do all of that conversion or cross lookup or VLOOKUP in Excel work yourself.